I've spent the season out here in Winter Wonderland. I built a base, I built a tavern, but now it's time to move on. This place existed for the holiday season, and now that season is over. And if I want this world to grow, I can't stay here. I need to finish things here and build the connection that takes me back to Spawn City. Hey guys, welcome back. It feels a bit weird to record this because it's been so long. It feels like it's been like ages, but it's actually only been a few weeks. But I'm back to making videos again. I hope everybody had a lovely Christmas and a very nice new year. It's gonna be a big year, especially for this channel. And you know, just in general, it's gonna be a nice year. I just have a feeling. I started off here with a bit of like something small. Why not build just a nice frozen lake? Look at this, guys. This is a nice small frozen lake. First thing I tackled was the frozen pond. I fenced it in with spruce, just enough to make it feel like the village maintains it. On the diagonals, I topped each fence with a candle to give those corners a bit of a shape and pointiness. On the straight runs, I just dropped brown candles at the ends, so it reads more like a worn down guardrail than a barricade. And for the snow, instead of dumping white blocks, I used pale oak pressure plates and mixed in some pale oak buttons. It gives you those little patches of snow that look like they've blown over the ice. But that's not everything. Look who I found over here. We got ourselves a new dog. I thought to myself, it's a new year, I need a new companion. I will name this dog whatever the top comment is. So please don't disappoint me. Guys, this horse has been chilling out here in the open for too long, you know, without having a proper place to stay. So I'm thinking we're gonna do something about that in this video. After a few episodes, the village is starting to take shape, but the horses have nowhere to go, and you can't have a functioning settlement without a stable. People need somewhere to keep their animals. So today, I'm fixing that. Alright guys, so I really want to build like a horse stable area in this, you know, new settlement, which I'm going to be calling Steamy Springs. I feel like it makes sense just because this place is called Steamy Springs Inn. So I'm thinking, I really had this area in mind. I was thinking, what if I keep the floor at this level, but then I just go into this hill over here, and then I just shape out like a hoof-shaped area. Ooh, it's snowing. So the reason I'm doing that is because then if I go into this hill, I will have a space to hide the redstone for the stable. So yeah, let's get to building that. So the stables are finally finished. As you can see, I went into the land here a bit, terraformed the sides a little bit. This is how I built the stables. I went for a very woody look, and I think it came out quite nice. This center area over here, this middle area, felt a bit too spacious. Oh well, it was meant to be spacious, you know, with the horses traveling in and out and whatnot, but I thought I might as well just, you know, include these lamps here, and I think it serves as a nice like lighting, but also a nice place to just, you know, fill up the dead space a little bit. And also I felt like the backside over here felt a bit empty, so then I thought, okay, there's just some shade over here where people maybe dump the hay piles over here so that horses can eat on after traveling for a long time. So I can like travel with this horse, and then boom, I put them in the stable and it automatically closes like that, and now they are in the stable. Look at that. Man, I'm so proud of the redstone. The redstone wasn't too hard. It does not work! I tried for an hour! How does that make any sense? So yeah, it was a, you know, it was a breeze. Let me show you guys real quick, for those of you that don't know how this table works, or just the redstone behind it. There's 2 tripwire hooks on each side, and then there's a string in the middle. Whenever somebody like walks through, throws an item, you know, it activates. So now we can use that function to activate redstone. Look at this, boom. The pistons are activated, but it's only activated as long as we're on this tripwire hook. So what we want to do is we want whenever this tripwire hook is activated, the pistons stay up like that. So how do we do that? We build a redstone switch. Let me show you guys what redstone switch I'm going to be doing here. Place a dropper that faces up, then there's a dropper that faces this way, then there's a dropper that faces down. Alright, so dropper that faces up into this dropper, and this dropper faces that way, and this dropper faces down. And then I place a hopper over here. Alright, so now we have this, right? And we put an item inside here. Boom. We got a cobblestone inside there. What happens when we activate this tripwire hook? Boom. Look at that. A pulse is going to go into this thing, and it's going to shoot this cobblestone, and it's not in this dropper anymore. Where did it go? It went to this dropper over here. Look at that. Now it's in this dropper. Now there's another thing I want to explain to you guys. The reason it didn't go back up in here is because it has to get powered in order to get back up here. How does that get powered? I just switch it. I just activate this thing again, and it powers this block, which will power this dropper. And it shoots back up into this dropper. You might be wondering, how does this magic work? How did this dropper just shoot it back up into this dropper? Well, let me explain to you in simple terms real quick. Did you guys know that blocks can contain power? If you do that, boom, look there. Redstone repeater goes into this block is activated, and then it gives a signal out to this redstone over here. We're making use of that function. We made a switch where the cobblestone will either be in this dropper or this dropper every time we activate the droppers through the tripwire. So it will either be there or there. Now we want to turn this thing into a switch. Now we place a comparator. A comparator will detect if something is inside this block specifically. So this comparator is going to detect whether there is a block inside this dropper, and then it will give a signal that goes out all the way here and go to these pistons. So now I can activate this tripwire hook, and then the cobblestone that's in here will go down to this dropper over here. And then this will detect that there's a cobblestone in this dropper. So let me demonstrate. See? This comparator is activated. But now the signal strength isn't powerful enough. That's why we put a repeater over here, and then boom, it's powered. And there you have it, guys. Look at it. Now you've created a redstone switch that can toggle pistons. Hopefully those of you that don't know much about redstone have learned something today. You know, as I learn stuff, I also want to teach you guys what I have learned. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the segment. Whenever I'm walking out of the stables, man, this is just such a nice view of the entire mountain over here. The natural terrain has really outdone itself with this mountain. Seriously, this is like a very nice backdrop for whatever I'm going to be building here. Actually, I already know what I'm going to be building. In the previous video, I mentioned that I want to have some houses for Patreon members. I'm going to be building a few houses over here next to this frozen lake over here. I think I'm going to keep the scale of the houses quite small, just so that I can actually build a lot of them. So let's get to building these houses. Alright guys, so after a few hours and a whole day later, I can finally show you guys the little collection of houses I've built. All these 10 houses are going to be dedicated to my first 10 Patreon members. I'll put their names right above the doors. When it comes to the block palette for these houses, I try to keep it quite similar. I took inspiration from the coat shop design over here and then just transferred it over to these buildings over here. I did a very similar snowy roof, but the trimming, I varied it between dark oak and spruce. So there's a little bit of variation in the designs of the houses. Some have like an extra top part there, and some have a chimney, and some don't have a chimney. So there's a bit of variation in it. I'll upload the entire set of these houses to my Patreon for those of you that want to build maybe a village or a city out of these houses. The build literally just consists of all types of stripped logs, stripped oak, stripped spruce, stripped jungle. And then I covered those walls with signs, which are spruce signs, jungle signs, and a little bit of oak signs, just for some variation. There was a few like dead spaces throughout this area. Then I thought, okay, I could just fill it up with these log piles. So I used oak logs and I placed some campfires on there, just so it looks like there's more tiny logs as well on top of these oak log piles. So yeah, I think it adds a lot more to the immersion as well. If you just walk through here, you just see these log piles. But another tiny detail I've added was these coral bushes. I've added a few of these coral bushes because it seems like it's a nice foliage to have in a snowy environment because it matches the ice, or not the ice, but the snow a lot better than like regular grass over there. Of course, I keep some regular grass in between, but I also would like to have some coral because it feels like this is like foliage and snow has fallen on top of this foliage, so it like blends better into the environment, I would say. But one last thing I would like to show you guys, look at this. I put another lamp here and I put like a lead connected to a bunny rabbit, and it looks like it's just like some sort of like support lead kind of thing. And you know, you can tell by how this lead just, you know, shakes up and down. It's a bit of a windy spot up here. This is where the hill peaks a little bit, so there's always going to be gusts of wind up here compared to down there in the valley area. Look at this, guys. You walk here, this is going to be the entrance to the area. Man, I love this. The way this lamp just frames this entire image. Oh, it's so good. It's got to be one of my top skylines now at this point. Might be better than Pine Rust's skyline. Let me know. Comment down below if you guys think that. But yeah, I just love this sightline as you walk through here. This was my goal, to create another amazing sightline. Everywhere I build, I want to create a nice sightline. Because what's the point if you build something and it doesn't even look great? You got the horse stables on this side for the travelers that just arrive to town, and then they can put their horses there. And there's the Steamy Springs Inn. It feels like throughout this video, I've been just, you know, I've been knocking down so many things on my mental to-do list for this area before I head back to spawn. And I think something in Steamy Springs Inn is one of those things on my to-do list, which is the interior. So let's get to doing that. So guys, I have finally finished the interior for the Steamy Springs Inn. Let me run you guys through everything I've built. So I started off with this red carpet over here, and then it leads up to this wine barrel over here. As you can see, this is a nice little wine barrel design, and then it pours wine into the pot. And as you can see, all of these shelves with pots on them are supposed to represent a bunch of wine pots that store wine. Because of this place experiencing an eternal, everlasting winter that never ends, that means they need to stay stocked up on a lot of wine to keep all the locals warm. One little detail I would like to show you guys is the sign. As you can see there, I put some nails in the sign, so it looks like there's like the piece of wood is just like nailed onto the barrel, which is a nice little detail I've added. It is essentially just like a square symbol. I just googled square symbol, black square symbol, and then I copied and pasted it in, spaced it out, put it in all four corners, and then I dyed the sign gray, and yeah, that's how I got it. As we walk further in here, you see there's more shelves with more wine pots, and then there's some seating over here with some plates and some drinks over here. And then there's a nice decoration of a copper golem up there. When we reach the bar over here, look at this. I placed a large variation of potions over here just to add some color to the bar to show, oh yeah, there are actually drinks here that a person can drink. Bunch of candles for subtle lighting because I do not like torches, fun fact. And look here, I opened up this area here and added a window. Now you can look out into the courtyard over here. So if we keep on moving here, there's another shelf with more pots, and then more tables, more shelves with pots, another shelf here with the copper golem statue decoration. So yeah, guys, what do you guys think of this area? I like it a lot. But if we go past the bar over here, through the bar and to the backside of the building, as you can see, I have filled up this entire wall with my donations, just to say thanks to everybody that has donated. So if you see your name, you are in the video now. I'm linking my buy me a coffee in my description, and I'll probably make it a pinned comment as well. I thought this would be a nice way to give my supporters a permanent place in my world, just for everybody that makes this possible to have a little piece of this world. I thought while I farm this dark oak, I could maybe just talk a little bit for a short while with you guys. It seems like everything is just getting more and more cinematic, and that's not a bad thing. Throughout me contemplating and thinking while working on this video, I've really came to the realization that I really want to improve my building. My building is nowhere where I actually want it to be. Any regular player would look at my builds and they would be like, yo, that looks amazing. I always look at builders that are better than me. I feel like that will drive me to become a better builder myself. In a way, it motivates me to step up my game in terms of building. After this episode, we're going to be building in Spawn City, and Spawn City is supposed to be the main hub of this entire world. I'm really excited, but also it feels daunting because it's a lot of work, because it's a city. The buildings are a lot bigger, and I think it's going to be a fun journey. Going back to Spawn City is really going to force me to think about my builds, think about where I place my builds, and all of, just everything that encompasses a good building. And at the same time, I want to focus on city planning, proper city planning. At the end of the day, this is a block game, so realism has its limits, but what I really want to focus on is more immersion, and I think I can really make that possible with the city that I'm going to be building. All that wood, that's for the highway. Right now, it cuts off where the snow starts. So, I'm extending it to Steamy Springs, and then building the station. Now I need a station so this place can actually become a destination. a journey it has been, guys. I have finally finished this station. So when I started out building this thing or just planning to build it, actually before I started building it, I was so like lost. I did not have any idea what I was gonna build, and I also mentioned it to my friend Dai, and then he sent me an image, and I was like, oh, this is a very nice image of a station. It was a sort of like a European station. So I started basing it off that design, and then after a while I was like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. And yeah, this is what it became. So the base area for the entire building consists of this like bricky texture, I would say. From a distance it looks like brick, but close up you can see the texture consists of rooted dirt, dripstone, light gray terracotta, dried brain corals, some iron ore in between, cyan terracotta. So it's like a lot of mixtures of this gray brownish tones. Notice how I didn't use brick at all. Like, you can make something look like a bricky texture without using brick blocks, which is insane for my amateur builder mind. Over here we did some trims here. We did some slightly exposed copper trims here for the area, and then also the top part, just to give it some pop of color a little bit. For the upper section above the base area, which is supposed to be brick, I used a nice wood gradient, which consists of dark oak, mangrove logs, oak logs, and strip spruce logs. And as you can see at the top part over here, I used banners again for windows, but this time I used a different kind of variation. I used a larger square window, so it looks a bit more, so it looks a bit different. I figured this out while just experimenting around with the banners, and then I realized, oh man, this doesn't look bad. So yeah, I did those and I kept it. And then the top part, of course, I have a swirling light section, because in my mind it would be logical for all these key important like winter buildings to have some sort of like lighting system, so people from a distance or maybe people in a blizzard will be able to see this important landmark. So yeah, that's what I did there. And as you can see for the windows, I used regular glass panes and then black glass in front of it. It's actually windows you can look through this time. Oh, look at this. We got a saturation station. And I can actually fuel up on my hunger here. I thought this would be an ideal spot to just place a saturation station, because, this is the area where people go in and out. That's the station, guys. Let me know what you guys think about it. With the station complete, the frontier is no longer cut off from the world. Every build I make pushes this land a little closer to civilization. And if you want schematics for everything I make in my videos, go check out my Patreon. Dripstone. The caves beneath these hills are full of it, and I'll need a lot. So before I head back to the city, I might as well just fill up a shulker and read some comments while I'm at it. Alright guys, so let's read a few comments while we mine this dripstone before going back to Spawn City. First question we got from Doggo McD is, have you ever thought about using shaders when playing or just showcasing your builds? I think something like complementary reimagined could add a lot of life to the replay shots and whatnot. Yes, I have thought of using shaders for, say, like my cinematics and such. But I have a bit of a problem where the shaders could be a bit jarring, since I try to keep my game vanilla. I've sometimes thought that, okay, yeah, like shaders really can make a lot of shots more cinematic, but at the same time, I want continuity with the vanilla Let's Play and the cinematic shots, so it doesn't feel too out of place. I feel like any like cinematic shots with shaders would look great, but it would feel out of place in this vanilla Let's Play, because I feel like the vanilla game itself has a bit of like a charm to it. The shading, the fog and everything. Next question we got from Martin. Why need of Netflix subscription when you have this for free? Man, your videos are underrated. Everything in its right place. I appreciate your efforts. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate your comment a lot. I try to make the viewing experience quite pleasant for you guys, and I'm glad you guys are really enjoying it. I want to add new stuff to my videos and not just limit myself to cinematic shots. I want to include like artwork and what. As you guys saw in the previous episode, I animated a part, like did like stop motion animation, and I really enjoyed doing that, and I really would like to include more creative ways of editing in the future like that. Next comment we got from Willem. Is Frank Ocean still your favorite artist? Is Minecraft made out of blocks? Is the sky blue? Yes, of course. Actually, last night it was very late. I was done with some work I did for the day, and I went outside and I put my AirPods in and I look into the stars, and then I was just listening to some Frank Ocean, and that was like such a pleasant listening experience. What's nice about my place is that you can actually see the stars. You can't see plenty of stars when you're in the city, but I've moved out to the countryside now ever since I quit my job, so it's nice because there's a lot of nature, there's the ocean, there's stars, there's a lot to take inspiration from here. Final comment we got from Mr. Big Cheese. Sino, I have a question. Do you like Radiohead? If so, what's your favorite song by them? Yes, as a matter of fact, I do like Radiohead. Fun fact you guys might not know is that my most listened to artist in 2025 was Radiohead. Very unintentionally so. I did not realize how much I listened to Radiohead throughout that time. I really love Radiohead. They have some amazing songs. I maybe do not love the fan base of Radiohead, but Radiohead themselves are amazing artists. I really like their music. What are a few songs I like? I like Weird Fishes. I like Karma Police. All I Need is a classic. I like Nude. Motion Picture Soundtrack. Yeah, those are a few songs I like from them.
Didn't expect anyone here.
Seems like this place is so loud. It chased everybody away.
Are you heading somewhere?
Back to Spawn City. Season's over.
You got big plans there?
Yeah. Going back to finish something I started years ago.
Will Spawn City even look the same?
Probably not. But it will be exactly what it's supposed to be. Safe travels, man.
You too.